You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Top 100 prospects here from our guy, Dane Brugler, of course, of The Athletic.
I was texting with him yesterday. I think we're a real good chance he'll be sitting down with us to Combine and maybe doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'd love to just have him on the show over the phone at some point. To maybe
He's a little bit of a busy guy this time of year.
I know it. Maybe even like we could talk to him at the Combine and then maybe just again like sometime in April or something leading up to the draft. Because, I mean, all credit to him. I like to think you were, I'm not going to lie about this. You were the one that put me on to Dane Brugler.
Oh, yeah.
Before he was with The Athletic, when he was still cutting his teeth and coming up in the industry.
Yeah.
And now he's
10 years ago, he wasn't a household name, and he's a younger guy.
The first time I went to the Combine with you and Dale, he was like I had no clue who he was, and you were like, we got to talk to this guy, Dane Brugler. Was he with the Ringer at that point?
I'm trying to think what his career history was.
But anyways, he's one of those guys that if you've listened to our coverage at the Combine, you've heard his name before. He's like the next Kuiper or McShay. He's younger. He's been doing this draft stuff for a while, and he's going to keep doing it for a long time.
He did some consulting with NFL teams for draft stuff as well, and he's as good as there is as a draft analyst out there, and everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but the beast that he puts out is incredible. The most thorough. And
it's like a 500-page thesis on everyone in the NFL draft.
Played center field in 8th grade, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So, yeah.
His lunch lady said that he used to stick his cheese sticks in his peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever.
He really digs deep. One thing about Dane, and I haven't heard him say it this year, but I regularly listen to his podcast too, is, speaking of Combine, his Combine goal is to say no to nobody. All the requests he gets, if I can go there for that many days and not have to tell anyone no, and I can get everyone yes and sit down with everyone that asks, I did my job.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's hard to do.
Oh,
in his shoes.
He is like the prettiest girl at the pageant.
This time of year.
It's hilarious. He'll be on Radio Row with the Buffalo Bills crew, and he stands up to after he's done with his hit, and 4 other people are like, Dane, can we have you over here? Dane, Dane, come with us. Come on, Dane, do it.
And his whole goal is just to not tell anyone no.
Well, good thing for us, he's Matt Williamson's in cahoots with him, and we'll definitely.
He's been a regular with us since we've been going to the Combine.
Yeah, we'll get to talk with him at some point for sure. His post-Super Bowl top 100 prospect rankings. So this is not a mock draft, just top 100 rankings. I thought this would be good to kind of kick around. We don't need to spend time on every single one of these guys.
This guy be 18 or 19.
Right.
But that's not what it's about.
It's more so just getting familiar with these names that we're going to continue to hear so much about over the next few months.
Super quick. So I know you listened to his most recent podcast where they're talking about the top 100, but what's harder, I just want people to know this because I've done both, he's done both. It's way easier to do this for the Steelers. It's much harder to do it just generically, this wide receiver versus center,
You and I, when we're doing our mock drafts for the Steelers, we're not taking an edge rusher in the first round.
Right.
It's completely off the board. You're not worried about drafting a center. You're not worried about some of these things.
And scheme. This guy's a really good player, but he doesn't fit what we do. Right. Back in the day when 3-4-3 was such a big deal, well, Joey Porter wasn't for everyone, so he got him the 3rd round.
Right.
Jason Gilden, those type of dudes.
Great example. Number 1 on his big board is Arvell Reese, the linebacker out of Ohio State. Mr. Do-It-All, think Micah Parsons.
So I'm trying to familiarize this list is a great way to familiarize yourself with new names, too. Not that Reese is a new name. Yeah. Because they have a little drop down on each player, and it's like 3 or 4 sentences. Just give me the thumbnail. Give me the elevator pitch. And I liked one thing. I went through and I read all 100 in the last 24 hours, which doesn't take you long. It takes you a half hour at most. But I liked his comparison. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's Micah Parsons. That's pretty rare. But
yes.
He mentioned that he's a mixture of Micah Parsons, somewhere between Micah Parsons and
Jalen Walker.
Yeah, Atlanta's first-round pick, who's an exceptional player, by the way.
You'll take that guy.
Yeah.
Mendoza at 2, which I don't want to say was surprising to me, but I like because I know some people in their top 100 have him a little bit further down.
Oh, okay.
Like he's going to be the
we know he's
pick.
Going 1.
He's a quarterback, but at number 2, I think says a lot from Dane here, having him number 2 on just his overall big board. Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back that you and I have said a few times might be the best player in this class.
I think he hasn't final grades on these guys yet. I mean, we haven't seen combine, but I think in the write-up he said he's going to have Love ahead of Genty from
Ashton Genty from last year,
which is pretty high praise.
It sure is.
I would have Bijan ahead of both as a prospect.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. Yeah, I do. Caleb Downs at 4, another Ohio State guy. Chess piece on the board there. Dane says he's one of the better safeties I've ever evaluated.
Yeah. And it's weird. I mean, 2 of the top 5 prospects, no matter what, are safeties and running backs. Usually it's a tackle, it's an edge,
And number 5, another off, and I know Arvell Reese is a different type, but another off-ball linebacker in Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. So 3 of his top 5 on his big board are Ohio State defensemen.
Yeah.
And linebacker, safety, running back, all in the top 5.
It's not premium position type draft.
Number 6 is a guy that I've discussed with you plenty throughout the season, Texas Tech's David Bailey, the edge rusher. Violent.
I bet he goes high.
Just a violent dude. And he started his career at Stanford before, big money bag to Texas Tech. And Stanford's one of those programs, like, they don't just take you because you're a good football player.
Oh, you got to be.
I think David Bailey in those meetings and everything, real smart, between the ears, and is going to interview and do combine stuff.
Which raises your floor
well.
too. I mean, it definitely gives you less bust potential when your head screwed on straight.
Yes,
and you're smart.
Mansour Delane. I think this is another one of those I've been trying to get an answer on. Is it Delane or Delaney? But I think it's Delane.
Okay.
The corner out of LSU. Number 7, Spencer Fanu, another guy that with my
a lot of corners with length.
A lot of corners with length that are interesting in this one. Corners, tackles, edge rushers, I feel like are very intriguing.
Yeah,
in this class.
I meant to say this before we even started too, but Dane has 17 wide receivers in this top 100, and the majority of them in the top 50, which is super Steeler relevant. There's only 3 interior O linemen. So. That's not a strength of this draft, but I mean that doesn't mean you're not getting guys in the 4th and 5th rounds that aren't decent prospects. But there's not a lot of those. But wide receiver is the one that really stood out of the number of them, and a lot of them are high.
That feels like that's been a trend for the last few drafts. as well.
Yeah.
Number 8, first offensive tackle on his board, first offensive lineman on his board, Spencer Fanu out of Utah. Number 9 is Reuben Bain Jr., second edge rusher here, of course, from the national runner-up Miami Hurricanes. And then number 10, another Ohio State. So he's got 4 Buckeyes in the top 10. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Carnell Tate, first wide receiver, 10th overall.
And I mentioned that there's a lot of receivers, and there are. He thinks there's the top 3 receivers are Tate, Tyson, and Lemon. Depending which
scheme
style you want,
for,
and Lemon's a little more slot than those guys. But he did say he had a higher grade on Tet McMillan than any of them, but close. I mean, but they certainly aren't the Neighbors, Harrison, Chase level, but they're really good prospects.
It reminds me a little bit of last year where, same thing, there were a handful of really good wide receiver prospects, but not that Jamar Chase, bona fide, top 5 pick. Number 11. A little bit lower than you see him in most places. Francis Mauigoa.
Yeah, that did seem low to me. Pull back the curtain. I did a mock draft that'll come out on Steelers.com, and Max and Pursuit are doing it with us too.
We'll discuss that whenever it goes live.
I had him going much higher than that.
Dane's reasoning is he thinks he might be a guard in the NFL. Like
I've heard that too.
His most recent podcast, he compared him to Zach Martin. Like, could this guy be an effective tackle? Sure, but he could be a generational guard.
Yeah.
12, Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State, who I really like. He makes those body contorting George Pickens type catches.
Yes.
13, Vega Ione, guard out of Penn State. That's his first true interior offensive lineman.
Boy, was he gushing about him on the podcast.
He really was.
He
really likes him.
Right.
14, as you mentioned, Mekhi Lemon.
I knew they were all super close bunched together, those three.
Gives him some Amon-Ra, St. Brown comparisons.
And on the podcast, he had a good point. He's like, first off, when Lemon gets drafted 12 overall or 15 overall, he should send a fruit basket to St. Brown. Same school, same body type, mostly slot. But Dane's reservation was, doesn't mean he will be, though. Let's not just assume this guy's going to catch 100 balls 5 straight years,
Right.
But he's a really good prospect.
Right.
And he could be very much in the Steelers mix.
He certainly could. Let's mention a couple more of those other guys because he's got some offensive tackles and some edge rushers here. Kedrick Falk, Caden Proctor, Akeem Messidor, and that's not the Steelers' territory in the first round.
No. One thing I did notice, though, is there's more tackles from 15 to 35 than there's. Yeah, there's a lot. Some of these playoff teams might actually, the Patriots might get a tackle or,
Which is normally the complete opposite, complete inverse of what it typically is.
Now, they're not Jonathan Ogden coming out, but they're first-round type guys.
First-round type talents. Kenyon Sadiq, the freak tight end from Oregon that we've mentioned, he's got him at pick 20. That feels like it could be a real nice sweetener for one of these Super Bowl contending teams on the back end of the first round.
I wonder if even the Chiefs would consider him at 10 or, I would understand it.
KC Concepcion, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M at 22. Denzel Boston, who I'm really warming to, wide receiver out of Washington at 25.
I think there's a real legit chance he's the Steelers' first-round pick.
I think he might be the one that has the highest percentage, Vegas odds at this point. Yeah. 27, Omar Cooper Jr. If you don't remember him, you will know him, the wide receiver from Indiana who made that ridiculous circus catch against Penn State to win Indiana that game. He's rising up draft boards quickly.
I think that's the highest anyone's had him, but that's not going to be uncommon, I don't think.
Caleb Lomu, the other Utah tackle, at 30. Let's see here. C.J. Allen, off-ball linebacker from Georgia that we've discussed.
There's some off-ball linebackers that are
32.
Interesting, too.
And then this is what's real interesting to me, this kind of range of guys in his early 30s that could certainly be available in the early 20s. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson, who obviously everyone knows, quarterback from Alabama. Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. He's got at 37. Those are, I think, all potential keep an eye on for the Steelers type guys.
Yes. One other name that, not that you're going to name all of them, but the defensive tackle from Florida who ripped up the Senior Bowl.
Big boy.
Dane had him higher than on any list I'd seen yet, too.
Caleb Banks. 6'6", 335.
I'm excited to talk to Max about him a little bit because he missed almost the entire year with injury, but you could see a ton of ability there.
I think that's spot on. We'll have a couple Gators to talk to. Talk to Max Starks about. Couple more quickly before we get to break. Jeremy Bernard, Alabama wide receiver. He checks in at 45.
I'd like him a lot too. I mean, it's like a second round guy. I mean, he really has that Chris Godwin feel about him. I don't see a lot of bust potential there.
Chris Brazzell, the Tennessee wide receiver at 46.
He's rare because he's 6'5", long strider, but those Tennessee guys run 2 routes.
Yes. Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt. He had 3 tight ends in his top 100 here, I think, at 48. Malachi Fields, Notre Dame wide receiver at 49.
Yeah.
Chris Bell, Louisville wide receiver at 53. Just kind of reiterating your point about how many wide receivers are in this conversation. Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle from Texas Tech that I really like. He's at number 60.
That was lower than I expected to see him.
Same, but I kind of like. He's a guy that I would love if he's there in the second round for the Steelers as a potential. I would love to have him on an option.
He'd be more of a nose here,
yes,
which is fine. I think that's kind of what you're looking for. The run stuffing stuff is not a problem at all.
Not at all. Antonio Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson at 61. Ted Hurst, wide receiver out of Georgia State at 62. There are a lot of wide receivers. Yeah. Elijah Surratt, the other Indiana wide receiver, at 65. Josiah Trotter at 66. Jeremiah Trotter's son. Started his career at WVU and then transferred to Missouri. He's an interesting one that we should talk about at some point. Kyle Lewis, the Pitt linebacker who will likely be one of those safety nickels.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Me too, if he's
able to do that. Yeah.
Able to play that role and not set on playing linebacker. He's at 70 on the list. Brennan Thompson, Mississippi State wide receiver at 74. Zachariah Branch, Georgia wide receiver at 75.
I think Thompson is who Dane thinks will be the fastest guy at the combine.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the receiver's time.
I like that. Garrett Nussmeier, QB3 at 82 here on this list. So he's got
probably about right because he's not doing position value.
Right.
I mean, he's not guessing where they're going to go.
Best players.
Best
players. Michael Trigg, the tight end from Baylor, who I think could be the diamond in the rough of this entire draft at 91. We'll talk about him more at some point. Reggie Virgil, Texas Tech wide receiver at 94. Bryce Lance, North Dakota State wide receiver at 99. So, I mean, what in the top
Trey Lance's brother.
Trey Lance's brother.
And he turned down a lot of money from Big Ten schools to stick there.
To stay there.
Yeah, he's an interesting player.
So just in that top 100, what did I list? 10 wide receivers?
There's 17 of them.
In the top 100? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You said that it was 17
of them. That's
Good Lord.
I mean, you're going to get one. A conversation for a different day, but I could understand going into the draft and not have signed a big-time free agent because that's not a great place to shop. And you take one in the first round and the third round. Mm-hmm. I mean, always fish where the fish are at, you know what I mean, in the draft. I mean, it's a big thing. Now, I thought Kevin Colbert was exceptional at that, of setting up things so that you could fish in the correct waters on draft day. If it's a deep wide receiver draft, well, we're definitely getting one.
So we're not making that a priority in free agency.
Yeah. But I'd love to do both at wide out.
We will talk more about all this as we continue to get closer and closer to the Combine and ultimately the NFL Draft in April. Another one of these up-and-coming draft guys that has really made a name for himself over the last 5 years or so, Trevor Sikkema.
Oh, Trevor's great.
We really like Trevor. Maybe he was the one who was with the Ringer at first that I was thinking about with Dane.
I don't know his history. He's tied in with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now he's at Pro Football Focus full time.
Yes.
High energy. He's sat down with us 2 or 3 years in a row now, too. I'll definitely grab him.
Good dude. And a barbecue aficionado, so I always like picking his brain about because I like throwing stuff on the smoker and into that field. And him and I always during the commercials I'll ask him a quick question. What have you been doing about this? And what do you find with this? He put out his quarterback rankings and updates and strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
And
he's doing position by position because running back came out today. I assume receiver will come out tomorrow.
We'll keep an eye on.
It's just a handful of them. It's not like 30 of them.
Yes, it's the top guys.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you can imagine, he's got Mendoza at 1. No shocker there. And he's got Ty Simpson at 2.
Does he have Simpson too?
I don't think that's a shocker.
No.
I certainly don't think Ty Simpson will be everybody's QB2. Absolutely by the time that we get to April. Mm-hmm. But for right now, I totally get it. What was interesting to me about this, Matt, is he's the first person I've seen kind of clearly have Trinidad Chambliss as QB3 in this draft.
Do we know he's going in the draft?
They are still...
I thought there was still litigation or something going on.
There is.
Okay.
And I don't want to get too deep into these weeds with you because this could be an hour-long conversation. But remember how I told you in TV a couple weeks ago about the guy that had played in the NBA and the G League for 3 years and then was allowed, Alabama got a court injunction that allowed him to come back and play, even though he had been gone for 3 years and had played a couple games in the NBA. That actually just got struck down.
Oh, really?
So this guy was allowed to come back for Alabama, played a couple games, and then it just got struck down, and now he's out again.
Okay.
So I could see something where, some Mississippi judge who obviously wants the best for Ole Miss football. Let's not kid ourselves.
Let's not get too hasty.
Let's not live under a rock and act like everyone's got integrity in this world.
Right.
Does something that makes him, quote-unquote, eligible, and then a month or two later, some NCAA lawyer comes in and strikes it down. I'm thinking...
I would think at some point you need the league needs to know.
Yes.
He needs to know. I mean,
yes.
Let alone the college program. Side note, I just saw the head, when you go to the NFL page on ESPN, there's all those little bullet points on the right.
Yeah.
One of them was someone was granted his 9th year of eligibility. Did I read that right?
Yes, a linebacker from
9th?
Nevada or something.
It wasn't a huge school or anything.
It's insane. He's going to be 27 years old playing against 18 and 19-year-olds.
What is going on with it?
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Again, that's another one that we could spend an hour. You should get 5 years of eligibility. Throw the red shirt stuff out the window. You get 5 years.
Do what you want, right?
If you want to play all 5, great. If you want to go 3 and go to the NFL, awesome. If you want a red shirt for a year, and you get 5 years.
Yeah,
that's it.
Way to go, yeah.
Trinidad Chambliss, not on the NFL Combine list that came out today, though.
Oh, that did come out today. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe they tend to know things.
But I just found
there's late editions too, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If his agent rings up and says he wants to be there, they'll have him.
They'll go.
But I just found that interesting that he's got Chambliss at 3 and Nuss at 4 because that's I think it's been pretty chalky so far of Mendoza 1, obviously, Simpson 2, Nuss 3. This is the first I've seen with Chambliss elevated.
The little I know, Chambliss is really the only one that could battle Simpson for 2.
I think so.
Just what I've seen, what I've read, etc.
I mean, again, you never know what happens at the combine and all these different things.
Yeah.
Like someone could fall
height is an issue.
Someone could fall in love with Carson Beck. Someone could reminisce and get nostalgic with Garrett Nussmeier. But I think that's starting to look like the case.
Yeah.
We'll see. Bucky Brooks put out his top 5 prospects at each position in the NFL draft. Quarterback, I just want to kind of continue to monitor these and kick these around at like who's after Mendoza for all these people. Yeah. He goes Ty Simpson 2, Carson Beck 3, Nuss 4, Drew Aller 5, but with the caveat of let's wait and see this NCAA eligibility hearing in Trinidad Chambliss where he's going to play into this thing.
He'd definitely be in the top 5.
I would be shocked if he. The only, I shouldn't say the only concern with him because then that makes it sound like he's a perfect prospect.
Which he's not, of course.
But the big thing with him is the size, the height. It's like the Bryce Young conversation.
That's the first check box you want to check one way or another.
And so as we say that out loud, the cynic in me is almost like, does he want to avoid the Senior Bowl and the Combine so that he doesn't have to do the official measurable things?
But then, I mean, everybody's going to get it eventually.
He's
not going to grow. Right. There's no way of avoiding that.
But that's the big concern with him. Everything else, there's a lot to like there. So
yeah.
That's interesting to me. Carson Beck at 3, though. I think that's the first time I've seen Carson Beck as QB3. I've seen him as 4 and 5, but I think it's the first time I've seen him at QB3.
I guess I get it. Seems a little rich.
Seems a little rich.
Yeah. I don't think he's the Shuck early second older guy move.
He wide receivers top 5: Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State 1, Carnell Tate 2, Mekhi Lemon 3. Those are kind of the big 3.
Yeah, they seem to be their own tier, but I don't think there's a big gap between tier 1 and 2 though.
I don't think there's a big gap, but I think those 3 are kind of, it's like the Mendoza conversation. Like those 3 are the 3, and then I'm always interested to see where everybody else goes from there.
Yeah.
Zachariah Branch out of Georgia 4, Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee 5 for him.
Those aren't the names you usually see in the top 5.
No, it's not
but it
Denzel
shows
Boston and KC Concepcion.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's
Brazzell's interesting because he's like 6'5",
big boy,
long strider. Tennessee runs like 2 routes. So he's not a developed come out of your breaks, snap off an out route. But they don't make many 6'5", 210-pound dudes that might run a 4.38 or whatever.
And then Zachariah Branch is an interesting one to me because he, in the conversation that you and I had, I can't remember if it was last week or at some point in the last few weeks, he's kind of you laid out the NFL now, the Edelmans and the Welkers and the Tyler Lockett's, like the slot specialists that are under 6 foot are kind of going the way of the dodo bird a little bit.
And I think that's what he is.
Oh, he definitely.
I know he is size-wise.
He's listed at 5'10", but
he's also thinner.
He might be 5'10", like if he's wearing a pair of winter boots.
Now, I don't know this exactly, but his average depth of target, despite being supposedly very fast, he is very fast. I mean, he's not a sluggish little guy, but they throw him the ball like at and behind the line of scrimmage all the time. Like they don't even get him downfield a ton.
It's a lot. Reminds me of when we discussed Luther Burden coming out of Missouri last year.
Yeah.
It's like I really like the prospect, but I'd like to see him with more of a route tree and a more NFL-style offense.
Yeah.
Like Missouri was doing a lot of like just throwing the ball in the backfield and trying to get him the ball.
They couldn't protect. So like, how can we get our good player the ball? And in this case, I'm sure Georgia was better equipped, but it was get the little guy out in space and see what happens. But there's not a ton to go off of route tree stuff.
It's a very wide receiver is going to every year now it is because these classes are just every year there's 8, 9, 10 wide receivers that are you can see that guy walking onto a field and having an instant impact.
Yeah.
I mean George Pickens was the 9th wide receiver drafted in his draft class.
This class seems to have a lot of size, too, so I don't think you have to take the little guy necessarily.
Has a lot of size, has a lot of depth, doesn't have that true kind of number one bona fide that we've talked about, but a lot to like.
There'll be a lot of highly productive ones on this class when said and done.
Without a doubt.
No doubt in my mind.
And then the last thing that kind of caught my mind is his top 5 tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq, number 1, duh.
Easily,
he might be a top 20 prospect overall.
Yeah.
Max Clare out of Ohio State, 2. Dolan Bentley out of Utah, 3. He's an interesting one. Joe Royer, number 4 out of Cincinnati, and 5 Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt. I think Eli Stowers should be higher on that list. I'm also shocked he doesn't have Michael Trigg in his top 5 tight ends.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You said that off the air, which I don't understand either.
He's a freak, and he has off-the-field stuff. He started his career at USC and then transferred to Ole Miss and then finished at Baylor. And, hey, that's not crazy uncommon in the portal era.
Right.
But a lot of his was more issues and legal stuff and team stuff and late to meetings and practices and kind
immaturity off the field
and getting kicked off the team type stuff. But if you take that away, I mean he is
as a prospect
a freak. He's 6'5", 240 pounds, runs like a stallion. He might be a better version of Darnell Washington. You know what I mean? Like, he could be Darnell Washington, but with more athleticism.
With more juice,
So I don't.
I just wonder if Bucky's hearing stuff off the field. I don't know.
Which wouldn't shock me.
No.
Because I've heard some of that stuff, and I'm not Bucky Brooks.
He's a former scout and dialed in with NFL Network, so maybe that's it.
But even with some character concerns, I'd have a hard time not putting him in my top 5 tight ends. I think he might be a top 100
the football
player.
Prospect is, yeah.
I think he might be a top 100 player in this draft. Let alone just positional rankings and all of those things. But those were just some little tidbits that caught my eye from Bucky's latest top 5 at each position. Yes, Peter Woods, defensive tackle, is another one I kind of been keeping an eye on. I'd love to nab a guy there that we don't see coming.
Yeah, there's a lot of those too.
Peter Woods, number 1 out of Clemson. He's a stud. Caleb Banks out of Florida, the big boy that we got to have Max on to talk about at some point, number 2. And then Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech, who I think might be the diamond in the rough of this trenches class at number 3.
None of those guys is like the Quinnen Williams coming out of school. That's like a top 5, top 8 pick, but they're all bring a lot to the table and a lot of intrigue.
They could be a Stephon Tuitt where
maybe
a year or two into their career, everyone's like, how did this guy last until the second round?
Yeah. No, but I think the Steelers should be very involved in that shop now,
And then he has Reuben Bain ranked ahead of David Bailey. That's one I'm keeping an eye on, too. Those are kind of the consensus 1-2 edge rushers, but how does everybody rank them? He goes Reuben Bain 1, David Bailey 2. And those were kind of just some of the things in our daily draft discussion. He does have Kyle Lewis listed as the number 2 safety behind Caleb Downs.
Oh, does he?
So he's gone all into Kyle Lewis.
That's the first I've seen anybody put him in that bucket.
But that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's his. I mean, I think he can really excel
to call him a true off-the-ball linebacker.
One of those,
probably a stretch.
Yeah, one of those kind of just sub-package centerpieces.
Modern day.
I don't think he has the body frame to be a true off-ball linebacker, every down guy. But
I assume that's how the league will work. I wonder what what group he works out with at the combine.
So that's a good question. And our buddy Bob Labriola sent us the official combine list.
I'm not sure if they put it in.
I can find this. I can find this real quick if you just give me a second.
Sure.
I actually have it right here.
I heard someone also pronounce it Louis, not Lewis. I don't know.
What are they, French? Chris Carter told me Kyle Lewis, and he's more dialed into any Pitt people. Oh, Kyle Louis. He's the starting striker for the French soccer team at the upcoming World Cup. Wait, Labs' list to me only had offensive players, not any defensive players on there. So, I'm not sure maybe they have him as both here. Like I got the list here on the.
And some of those guys they asked to cross train too, like the Steeler 3-4 outside linebackers will drop and do stuff.
They have him listed at linebacker for the combine.
Okay,
but
that's fine.
That doesn't mean he's penciled in there. Has to be
there.
Which
might be smart for him too, because if he runs and jumps and tests better than all the heavier guys, as opposed to runs and tests and jumps than all the lighter guys, you look better.
Spoken like somebody who has a true background in this scouting world. I tell you,
little tricks.
An interesting article on ESPN from Matt Miller that caught my eye this morning. He basically every year goes through the draft classes and grades how many guys he thinks are true first-round grades.
Okay.
Not because obviously there's 32 first-round picks.
It's time to have this conversation. I think I've had this conversation every year that I've hosted the drive, right about when we get ready to go to the combine. And we got more listeners than ever. Welcome. That's awesome. Spread the word, subscribe, all that stuff. But there's never. Now, every team has their own grading system, but they're all very similar. Contrary to popular belief, most teams aren't like, these are first rounders. That's a 7th rounder. they're like, this is a 6'8" with a letter grade by them for injury concerns or size concerns or whatever. And they also will build a board. Like, this is the quarterback column, running back column. But then the horizontal board is just as important. Like, there might be Mendoza, gap, next quarterback. And there might be 5 running backs next to them.
Yes.
So it all turns into itself. You'll see where the value is and necessarily. But it's not like I'm going to give first-round grades. But anyway, that being said, if there were true first-round grades, there's never 32. There's 32 that will get picked, but there's never 32 that basically any year you come out, you're a first-round pick grade. And maybe there's something that's off the field that would keep you from going in the first round, but first-round player grade. There's usually, I would say, 18, 16. Maybe in a good draft, the Joe Alt, Nix, Caleb draft, maybe there was 18.
Was that 23?
I'm really bad at that, but I think
he
so.
He said the beefiest recent years. In 2023, he had 20. In 2024, he had 18. Those are the biggest years in recent history.
Now, this year, I'm sure, is down.
Last year was 13. This year is 11.
That totally adds up. Because there's also, like, the blue chip guys, like, that are studs and they're going to go early every draft, Yes. And I also think this year there's low on blue chip guys.
I think last year and this year are low on blue chip guys.
Yes.
A lot of those
100% true.
A lot of those next tier guys that you really like, that group feels beefier.
Yes.
But the 5-star recruits feel thinner.
Yes. Now, to spin this to Steelers, let's operate under the assumption that there's on average 16 to 18 true first rounders every year, generally speaking. I did a study after Kevin Colbert retired. The pick the Steelers earned while Kevin was in charge of the front office, because remember, he was not general manager for a while. There was 10 years before that.
I think I've heard this from you before, but it's good.
I think it was 24.1 overall. That doesn't mean they end up picking there. You could trade up for Bush or whatever. You could trade back.
But on average,
they earned
the
24th pick, which basically means you got in the playoffs, often won a game in the playoffs. There was a Burris year that was lower. There's a Super Bowl win where you're 32,
year,
right?
Yeah.
But if you didn't have a first-round pick that year, it still counts. Like the year that Claypool was her first pick, you still put that in the equation.
52 or 51.
I'm not putting 51 in the equation to bring it up. It's wherever they would have been in the first round, where Miami ended up picking or whatever. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Where they traded Minka's pick.
Sure. 23rd or whatever.
So it's the spot you earned.
Gotcha.
So think about that, though. I mean, if almost every year you don't even get a chance at a first-round pick.
It's crazy.
Like the Patriots during that stretch, too. I mean, you don't even get you never get the blue chippers, and you never are in a spot to even get one of the first-rounders. Now, that doesn't mean they'll be if there's 11 on here, or 12 you said, that doesn't mean they'll be the 11th.
Yes, they're not going to go 1 through 11 in the draft.
You might get one at 13 or 14, but you won't at 20.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But just think about that. I mean, if the world looks at it like there's 11 first-round picks, I mean, the Steelers aren't going to get one of them this year, but Kevin never did. And really, Omar hasn't been much different. It's not like they've been picking 5 and 6. They never do.
It's funny. It almost feels like the only one of the 11 on this list that you would have a chance at is Jeremiah Love, just because the running back position.
Right. Maybe.
But so let's go through these 11.
But the fact that there's so few first makes a chance that Love's going to go higher than usual,
Good point. And some of these years where there were 18 or 20,
the back might fall to
30.
First pick of the second round, even.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. One quarterback, I don't think that shocks us, Fernando Mendoza. No. He has him ranked number 2 overall, number 1 for quarterbacks.
And I think any year he came out, he would be
top 10.
I preferred Ward. I definitely preferred May, Daniels, and Caleb. But he would have been the 4th quarterback taken that year ahead of Nix or Penix or McCarthy, which still
been taken in the top 10,
overall
top 15.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, even if he came out like the Joe Burrow year, he's still going
very round
high.
2, right.
One running back, Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame, who he has ranked as the number 1 overall player in the draft.
I totally understand that. I would have Reese as the number 1 player in the draft, but I understand it.
He has Reese, let's see real quick, number 4 overall player in the draft. We'll get to him in a minute. So 1 quarterback, Mendoza, 1 running back, Jeremiah Love, 2 wide receivers.
I thought that'd be 3.
Same. Mekhi Lemon and Carnell Tate. I'm shocked that Jordan Tyson is not on there.
Yeah.
Hey, this is one guy's opinion. I really like Jordan Tyson.
And the parameters are high to say he is a definite first-round
but I think,
caliber pick.
Like, these 2 guys have questions with them.
Yeah.
I don't think
Tyson's noticeably worse than these guys.
That was my surprise. Was if you're going to have both of these guys as first-round grades, I would think Tyson would be in that mix too. But whatever. He has Lemon as the 8th overall best prospect, Tate as the 9th.
Okay.
I think that's a little rich, but
yeah,
I like it. If there's more people that are higher on some of these top wide receiver prospects, I got no problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Like Dane mentioned the other day that he had Tet McMillan ahead of all 3 of these receivers, which I understand, but Tet would be on this list for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon, who we've discussed plenty. He has him ranked as the 11th best player in this draft.
Wow. I wonder how these draft nicks would compare Sadiq to the prospect that was Pitts, Bowers,
Warren,
Loveland.
That's something we'll ask these guys when we're out there.
And it won't apply to the Steelers, but I'm curious if you were to. Everybody does it with quarterbacks. I just did. Like I'd have Mendoza behind Ward, but ahead of these guys. I wonder if you were to rank them as prospects, Loveland versus Pitts versus all those guys, because there's been a lot of first-round tight ends lately. It's not so uncommon anymore.
1 offensive tackle. Francis Mauigoa out of Miami, 5th overall prospect. I'm surprised Fanu's not in there.
Yeah.
But just 1 at offensive tackle.
In the last 24 hours, Brandon Thorne has his own podcast and only does O-line.
Yes.
And he had Dane on. And I think...
I'm going to have to... Wait, was that this week?
Yes.
I'm going to have to listen to that on the ride home.
I think they said they had first-round grades on 3 of them.
Okay.
Fanu for sure. I don't know. I don't pronounce his name right yet. By the way, it's Louis.
Is it?
It is.
Kyle Louis.
It is Louis.
The Kessler master, Louis Luamba.
Yes. Heard that one in the last 24 hours.
How many different movies? I've gotten Titanic, Avatar, and now Monty Python references on the show today. Let's see if we can get another movie reference in here before we get out of here.
But I think they had 3 tackles. Oh, no, they had 3 offensive linemen, the guard from Penn State as well.
Is it really Louis? Hold on. This is blowing my mind now.
I think it's Louis.
Is this
not Louis. It's not French.
Is this guy from Nice or Montpellier?
I think it's pronounced the way you would pronounce Lewie.
Louis.
Like Louis.
Kyle Louis.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think that's how you pronounce it. Not Louis.
The outrageous French accent.
Right. Like Louis De Palma. You wouldn't know who that is. That's from DeVito and Taxi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I have.
That's before my time too, but that was like my dad's favorite show.
And Taxi.
Yeah.
You talking to me? 0 interior offensive line ranked by him as first round.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
They have the Penn State kid.
I'm surprised that Vega Ione from Penn State isn't there. But again, this is just one man's exercise, one man's opinion.
What I've seen, and again, he's further along the draft path than me, and Matt Miller is, but I think he's missing that one. I think Ione goes in the first round every year. And that's not easy to say for a guard.
No, it is not. 2 edge rushers, no surprise here. David Bailey out of Texas Tech, number 6 overall. Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami, number 10 overall.
Okay. Usually there's more, though.
Usually at that position,
two's pretty low, right? Yeah.
Yes. 0 defensive tackles, Matt. 0 interior defensive linemen with a first-round grade. He said Peter Woods is close, Lee Hunter's close, Caleb Banks is close.
I understand it, though. They all got concerns.
But that they are, none of them is the kind of, the clear-cut prospect.
One of them, and this is true for all positions, after the combine, this list might change by two players or whatever,
Yeah. 2 off-ball linebackers, which feels like that's probably much more than most years. There's probably 0 or 1.
Yes, and there's an argument for 3.
The 2 Ohio State guys, Arvell Reese, of course, and Sonny Styles.
And Allen from Georgia I think, is 3. A really strong prospect. The linebacker, this is a whole different conversation because I don't quite know what to do with Queen because you would get a lot of cap relief, and he's only on contract for 1 more year. You could trade him. You could cut him. I lean towards I want to see what this staff can do with them. And frankly, that's what I think of all defensive things is let's see what this staff can do with them, Ramsey, Queen, etc. But this is a really good linebacker draft, like the best one in a long time.
They're going to be
just off the ball guys.
4 or 5 guys taken in the top 50-ish.
Yeah, and there's depth too. I mean,
and that's rare.
Like I kind of thought differently about like Holcomb, where I originally thought he's a good third, bring him back, and that'd be fine. I have no problem against Cole Holcomb, but now I'm like, if you can get a 3rd-round linebacker in the 4th round, don't give Holcomb that money.
Yeah.
And if Queen leaves after this year, it might be him and Wilson. Right? Yeah. I might want to dip my toe in that linebacker draft situation.
That makes a lot of sense. This is shocking, too, and you don't see it very often. 0 cornerbacks, Matt.
That's like unheard of.
Shocking. Now, he does say Jermon McCoy from Tennessee would have fit this bill last year, but he missed the entire year with that ACL injury. So
let's say he goes to the combine and runs a 4.3 flat.
He's going to be back.
He'll be back in that list, I would think.
If he was able to come out last year, which he wasn't, because he was a true sophomore. So
I'm kind of shocked Delaney's not, though.
Yeah, I think he's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I would think
he was good at Virginia Tech, man, and then he took off at LSU last year on a bad LSU team.
Like, he might not go ahead of Stingley or Sauce or Patrick Peterson or Ramsey that all went like top 5. But I kind of feel
Christian Gonzalez territory.
Yeah, I would think he'd go in the middle of the 1st round just about any draft he came out.
Only guy in the secondary, then 1 safety, no shocker here, Caleb Downs out of Ohio State, who he has ranked as the 3rd best prospect in this draft.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
Very, very easy.
We don't know where he'll fall, but he's a 1st-round prospect all day long.
I think I might have asked you this, and this is probably a very easy yes, but if I said to you right now, Caleb Downs for your 21st overall pick, your answer would be?
It is a yes, but then your team build and everything, it would have such a, like, Omar might get mad at me if you say yes. You know what I mean? Like, I got all this plan.
He's probably shaking his head at us, guys.
Right, like I need that to be a receiver so I can make this plan, because then all the dominoes don't fall right.
You mess up your dominoes, but would you
now
be
I got to cut Ramsey, and then I got to use that money somewhere else.
If I could tell you he's like Palomalu, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor type safety, would you be willing
just take
to mess
the
up your dominoes for that?
Yeah,
like if he's the most likely guy in this class to be a Hall of Famer one day.
You say yes. Right, and figure it out from there. Or live in Big Nickel, or, here's a great player, figure it out.
I'm going to be very interested to see where him and Jeremiah Love are the 2 real, where do these guys land, and how does that affect everything
Sadiq's right behind them in terms of weird position, but great prospect, So real quick, I've touched on this a little last week, that this is kind of what's going on in buildings. Like today, I'm sure we'll get to it, we saw Miami release some guys, namely Tyreek Hill. It's soon going to be get cap compliant, get ready for the new league year, get your books in order, make a lot of cap casualties, make decisions on 50-year options, all that stuff. They've also probably done quite a bit of combine prep, I'd say.
Yep.
Like they don't build their boards yet, I'm guessing. I mean, every room's going to be a little different. They're not fighting over who the 7th wide receiver is versus the 8th wide receiver, but they're going to go into the combine with and free agency with a real strong understanding, of course, of their cap and their roster and who they're bringing back, strengths and weaknesses of the draft. Like, man, I hate the tight end group, and we really need a tight end, that kind of stuff. And then the other thing too is, who do we really want to interview at the combine? What do we want to ask them? So you have to have some meetings where, man, I really want to talk to Drew Aller. Not only do I want to get his medicals, but I want to ask him, what was he thinking on this play? Or, like, explain to me why you guys always check the cover, this first cover too. It's like, well, that's what the coach wants me to do. I mean, like, it's out of my hand, that kind of stuff. So you do get a lot of medical answers that are going to happen with or without you. I mean, that's why they're there. But you can get a lot more answers in line, and then you get together after the combine and be like, man, I don't
something about that guy was off.
Yeah, I don't.
His interview was weird.
Right,
seemed like he was hiding some truths.
Right,
wasn't being forefront.
Or the opposite. Right.
Or the opposite. Of course, right. You sit down with that guy. You love that guy. And that's what it's all about.
I don't know why they were coaching him that way, but the poor guy didn't have a chance to succeed on that play. Or
and
whatever,
I still remember 2 years ago at the combine, you and Dale and I were out having dinner on one of the first couple nights, and we bump into Pat Meyer. The old offensive line coach. And I was, like I tend to do, I can't remember if I was wearing a WVU hoodie or hat or something like that. And Pat Meyer was like, man, just talk to your boy Zach Frazier. I love that guy. And he leaves, and we're like, oh, wow, the Steelers might be really interested in Zach Frazier. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so that kind of stuff, that's what it's all about. Yes, the on-field stuff is what grabs our attention.
Sure.
And that's important.
40 times are cool and all that, but right.
But for these teams, the medical side and the interview side is really the bread and butter of the process.
The reason the whole thing exists is because of medical.
Yes.
I mean, Indianapolis, I hope it never changes. I do not want to fly to L.A. or whatever. But
with all that equipment and everything that we have to take, no chance.
But, I mean, the reason it's in Indianapolis is I think it's like 18 to 20 teams can drive there at a reasonable rate. It's a town that can handle it hospital-wise and convention center-wise. It's all flat and easy to get to. So it makes all the sense in the world. But the reason the thing was created was – let's get everyone together as opposed to having Ty Simpson go to 18 different teams so we can check out his knee and ankle. Let's just bring everybody to one spot. All the team doctors are there, and we're going to find out so much stuff medically. And then someone dawned on him like, well, why they're here? Why don't we see if they run and jump and throw and sit down with us and all that good stuff?
Well, while we're doing this, why don't we put TV cameras rolling?
Yes.
Well, why don't we do it in prime time?
Well, then there's all that. Let's send Wes and Matt.
I still remember being in college when the combine, that was really kind of the time frame where it was starting to rapidly rise in popularity.
I mean, it didn't used to be on TV.
It was on TV, but it was on the NFL Network.
About like in the 80s or whatever. Yeah, right.
And then the early 21st century,
NFL Network got smart.
It was like on the NFL Network at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And I remember times like my roommates and I would like have it on in the mornings and be like, oh, I got to go. Like the wide receivers are getting, Julio Jones is getting ready to run and I got to go to class. Like stuff like that. And then as it built, it became more of a spectator event and move everything into prime time. And we know that's how these things work.
And then there's some issues with that. Like I'm not running my shuttle at 11 o'clock at night. These guys hardly sleep anyways.
You've had me up at 6 a.m. doing medicals and doing interviews and what? Now you want me to run at 11:30 when I've been up interviewing for 14 hours? No chance.
Yeah, I was in a hospital for 15 hours yesterday getting poked and prodded and told me I had a hole in my heart that I didn't know about. I'm not real thrilled about.
Now you want me to go bench press real quick?
Right. So, quick story. I mean, like, for me, I was a new scout that year with the Browns. So, I think 2 of the days, it was the tight ends. While the tight ends were doing on-field stuff, I had to round them all up in their rooms. I was like Mother Hubbard, the mother duckling, and they would all follow me to, okay, I got them to where I need to be. Now they're yours, and they weren't happy about getting up that early. I mean, at that point, they're like, I know that I'm in a job interview all day, but if this one lowly Brown scout doesn't like my tone at 5:30 in the morning, so be it.
Yeah.
I had a long day the night before, or I was traveling, or I was in the hospital the whole time, or whatever.
It's about putting these guys in uncomfortable situations.
It is.
And
it's really uncomfortable. It's a long couple days.
That's how you reveal your true character. That's how you break through the facade that best foot forward that everyone's trying to put out there. Oh, you've got all these predetermined answers to our questions and all these things that you think okay, well, let's see how you do it on 4 hours of sleep, or let's see how you do it at 11:30 at night when you've been up since 6 a.m.
And I'm sure some of those guys are like, I run a 4.48 in my training facility well rested. I ran a 4.55 here,
It is all part of a overwhelming process.
It's an overwhelming process.
That's meant to overwhelm these guys and again, kind of reveal their true character, reveal how they do when everything's not lined up going their way.
Some of them have the sniffles, like just something, little something wrong.
I'll never forget. I know I've told you this before, but I have a buddy from high school that works as a scout for a team in the AFC.
Okay.
And him and I, once a year at the combine, we'll get together and grab dinner and catch up and all that. Yeah. Two small kid, small town, small school kids from Western Pennsylvania who both have cool jobs in NFL fields now.
You're both there.
2018 was my first combine. He had a few in the books at that point. 2018 was my first one. And I remember it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and him and I were just kind of hanging out at like the hotel bar, and he was like, I got to get out of here. He's like, we have an interview in 15 minutes upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 11 o'clock at night. Like, we got DK Metcalf coming in to interview in 15 minutes. I got to go upstairs and get ready.
He's not pounding highlights with you guys or anything.
Right.
I got to go here, and then I got to get here, and then I got to get someone. And
so it's all over the place.
I mean, even back in the day, like when I was a scout, I think it's different now because they called it the train station. And it was just a big open room with a bunch of round tables where the players would go when they weren't doing formal interviews. So I would do informal interviews the whole time. I'd be like, there's a guy sitting over there alone. I'm not sure who he is, but he's got a tag on. I might as well do 10 minutes with him, off the record, just whatever. Hey, how you doing? I'm Matt with the Browns, blah, 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 So they just go in there in their, quote, free time because they were encouraged to, because the more they could spread their...
The more you put your face out there, the more your name starts getting circled, or getting discussed in those circles,
But I do think there is, of course there's athletic benefits too. The fact that they all run on the same track in the same conditions, no wind, all that kind of stuff.
No Ohio State 39-yard 40 track like you've joked about before.
And I also call it like assembly line scouting. You see every receiver run the exact same drill, one next to the other. It's like, well, he stands out better than the guys before him or whatever. So there's definitely value in that too. But it's a crazy process.
It certainly is, and it's one that we're gearing up for with that. We'll do some mock draft stuff this week.
Yeah.
As we kind of continue, all eyes on Indianapolis here in the Combine, descending to one of our favorite cities in a week's time. Real quick, Matt, I don't know if you saw, they did sign a 2-year contract extension for Indianapolis.
Great.
So it will be there at least for the next.
This was a 20-year one, but that's good, right?
This was a big talking point for us a few years ago at the Combine because the contract hadn't been renewed, and as you mentioned, there was talk: could this go to L.A.? That was the big.
Could it generate more money in L.A. or whatever?
That was the big popular one, and the NFL has their huge NFL Network facility in Inglewood, literally right across the street from SoFi.
Okay.
I know Tyler's probably seen it, but for those unfamiliar, it is. You pull up into that Inglewood area now. And there's the Kia Forum, which is, of course, the good old-fashioned LA Forum. The Clippers' new arena is in that facility, in that area now, too. So there's 2 basketball facilities, if you will. There's SoFi Stadium, and there's the NFL Network, their new headquarters.
Wow.
All right there. It is, you could throw a baseball from SoFi Stadium.
Right there.
So there was a lot of talk of the NFL would love to have this at SoFi, all the network stuff. They could bring all the coaches and GMs and players right into their studios for interviews.
The problem is probably the medicals, though.
The medical, just
all the transportations of it would be horrible.
Within Indianapolis, everything was within a couple-mile radius of downtown.
Yeah.
If you do this somewhere like Miami or L.A., where you might get brighter lights and more media attention, you're going to be asking people to drive all across cities that, let's face it, aren't the easiest to drive all across.
I was gonna say,
you can have a lot of traffic and logistic delays. So,
and you can't take 150 young men and put them all in one hospital either, because other human beings might want to use that hospital or
they
get
might
an
need to do
accident.
some life-saving stuff,
right.
Medicine for the community and all that. That's a great
point. The tight
point.
end's ankle, might not be priority number one
it's
that
like,
day.
Hey, we've got something going on in the ER here. We don't have time to look at Kenyon Sadiq's shoulder. We're trying to save somebody's life.
Yeah,
Sorry. But that was the big talk, I think, in like 23, 24. Then they signed a 2-year contract extension through 26 this year.
Yeah.
And then last week, I think it was, they just announced at least 2 more years. So this one and then the next 2 combines at least will be in Indianapolis, which is good. And that means that
I don't want to mess with it.
I don't either, because as we've mentioned, for us selfishly, we have to drive 10 hours round trip to Indianapolis, 5 hours each way, but that's it. Once we're there,
that's better than a flight to L.A.
With all the equipment we have to take, and
we fill up a flatbed full of stuff.
We fill up an F-150 with all the radio boxes and table skirts and headsets and cameras for TV and backdrops for the content people, and it's a whole ordeal. So for us,
TV's got to ride in the flatbed this year too.
That's what I thought we were going to do, just like Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We're going to make them
best we can do.
Make them ride in the back.
Coming too.
Make sure you bring your gloves. It's going to be a little chilly back there. But we pull up on Monday and we don't move our car till Friday. It sits in the hotel parking lot. We can walk everywhere we need to go. And so we're all very, very excited to get back there and get that process going here. With that, we do have Matt's first official mock draft 1.0.
Yeah, I do want on Steelers.com tomorrow, I think. We're doing a video for it. It'll be out Thursday.
I do want to get into that here as we roll along today, but we do just have a couple minutes here till we need to get to our first break. So, Matt, I asked you.
Super quick, one combine note, too.
Yeah.
What a lot of our listeners don't understand, too, is I don't watch any of the drills while I'm there because we're busy. I mean, sometimes we're, like, at the bar and it's on in front of us, but, like, I record all the drills that are on NFL Network, which is like 15 hours of stuff over 4 or 5 days. So as soon as I come home, I watch the combine.
Mm-hmm. It is funny in that regard.
Yeah.
We get to see
the numbers.
We get the numbers as they roll in, and we get to watch the evening stuff. But we're on air from 9 to 5. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we're off a little bit earlier so that we can get out of there and get home.
And I remember just like the two of us and Dale driving home every Friday, you'd be in the back going like, this guy ran a 4, right. How about this 3-cone? You know, right?
If Matt and I weren't driving Dale nuts about talking best guitar players of all time, we'd be
talk.
Yeah, and you know Lemieux versus Gretzky, we'd be rattling off 3-cone times and broad jumps and all that good stuff. A lot of these big names that we've discussed so far that we'll continue to discuss, Matt, people are familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
People know Fernando Mendoza and Arvell Reese.
It's time to move past those guys, right? We need to dig in.
It absolutely is. Those surface-level guys, it's like, that's like your first, you remember when you were back in high school, grade school, middle school, and it's like, you got your report cards in quarters, like 9 weeks.
Yeah, every 9 weeks.
2 quarters was a semester, and every 9 weeks. It's like, okay, the first 9 weeks of draft season are past us.
Yeah.
So you better know the big names and the top wide receivers and all these different things. Now it's time to get into the second quarter, Matt.
We're not on like the 8th safety yet, but right.
We're maybe approaching the end of the first semester, end of the second quarter here, and it's time to get familiar with some new names.
And I'm sure we'll do some of this too, but Dale and I would text each other a lot this time of year, or he'd just pop in the next day. He's like, I watched this receiver from Florida State. Let's break him down. And like, that seems like about a 4th rounder. I'm like, all right, yeah.
We all have our different football dork quirks, and that's for sure. And that will definitely continue all throughout combine and draft season here. But 10 names to know, Matt. Some of these are names that you and I have mentioned once or twice in passing, but I think a little bit more of a conversation here.
And one of these tier 2 guys will get hot and may end up going 15th overall or 21st overall. Or you're right.
And some of these names that we've discussed that we think are nailed on first rounders might get to the combine and he's got a heart issue or he's got a hip issue. And then all of a sudden he's drafted in day 2 instead of in the top 20.
And another thing that happens, and I respect draft nicks now more than ever.
I do love that term, by the way.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite draft nick? Well, I'm a Dane Brugler guy.
I mean, like Mel was the first.
Mel was the OG draft nick.
But a lot of them look at things so generically that they don't look through the eyes of a coach of, man, I can't use this guy in nickel, so he's a 4th rounder, not a 2nd rounder or 1st rounder. You got to really think, how do I use him on game day?
10 names to start getting familiar with here. Again, a couple of these we've mentioned, but very briefly in passing. One of those guys at the top of the list, this is Todd McShay's list, by the way.
Okay.
One of those guys, I believe so, right? This is McShay. Yes, from the McShay report.
Yeah. I'm going to try to grab him.
That'd be awesome.
While we're there, yeah.
That'd be awesome. Edge rusher out of Missouri, Zion Young. We've mentioned him a little bit. He's not in that Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Kedrick Falk tier, but he's kind of, I think, in that next group.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of juice right now, too. He's both like off the edge. I mean, that's not what I meant, but
yes.
I mentioned we recorded, it'll be out Thursday. Mike and Max and I did our first mock draft where we each did the 32. Max had Young at like 16 or 17 overall, middle of the first round. Third
Max,
or fourth edge guy.
He's biased towards those SEC guys. Max.
Those two went back and forth on SEC, Big Ten. Big Ten actually wins this year.
Do they?
I mean, at the top.
Ohio State and Mendoza.
And Mendoza, yeah.
That's a great point.
SEC's weak at the top this year.
Texas A&M had the most players invited with 13.
It's a lot.
This year's draft. But you're right. The SEC I still think is the best conference in college football. And Big Ten people, don't tweet me. Okay, I know you've won the last 3 national championships, and I'm very refreshed by that. It was time for somebody to knock the SEC down a peg. But I still think they are the best conference in college football, just not as strong right now as they have been over the last 20 years.
I think it's the best for prospects. because a lot of them are linemen. You know what I mean?
A lot of linemen, a lot of edge rushers, a lot of corners.
The stuff that's hard to find.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about how this feels like a deeper than usual, stronger than usual off-ball linebacker class.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Another one of those guys out of Texas, Anthony Hill Jr.
Yeah.
6'3", runs a 4.4 40.
He's more athlete than player.
Yes,
though.
he's not violent.
He's not violent, and he turns things down a lot more than you would like. But, boy, he runs and hits, you know.
Looks like a round 2 pick, according to McShay.
I can see that.
In a loaded linebacker class.
There's 3 guys that are well ahead of him. I mean, the two Ohio State
guys.
And Allen from Georgia.
And Allen from Georgia.
Those guys are probably first-rounders any year they come out, especially the 2 Ohio State guys, which is rare.
We've talked about Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher from Auburn.
He's another one that's all molded. He's clay, but he's not formed yet.
Shamar Stewart from last year. Those guys can go one of 2 ways. They either take off or they bust. There's usually not a lot of, he ended up being an okay NFL guy for 9 years.
I mean, that was Oweh, and who's taken a while, but now, sometimes projects takes a while, but they do project into good players.
But McShay has the other Auburn edge rusher, Keyron Crawford, listed here.
Okay.
High level motor, excellent football.
I think he's the opposite.
Character.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the opposite.
Showcases tons of quick twitch ability, which we know for edge rushers is paramount.
Edge rushers definitely a combine matters position.
Disruptive in the run, closes on ball carriers in a hurry. Far from a perfect prospect, does miss too many tackles and has shorter arms, but is being vastly underrated by the public. Talked to 2 different teams that don't think he will make it out of the second round.
Okay.
The name on this list that really caught my...
I think we want edge rushers to go in the first 2 rounds.
Totally.
Yeah.
Edge rushers, offensive tackles, let them fly off the board. Fly off the board. Another name on McShay's list here. This is a name I've mentioned to you a couple times when we talked tight ends briefly in the past, but Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq is clear-cut tight end 1. If anybody else has anything, they're just trying to get attention or trying to get impressions and be different. I think the conversation for tight end 2, at least in my book, comes down to Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt and Michael Trigg out of Baylor. Stowers is flying crazy under the radar. He could be a Harold Fannin Jr. type, ends up going in the 3rd round and has a great rookie season.
More receiver than blocker type guy.
More receiver than blocker. He is a little undersized,
he's a little small.
But so was Fannin. He's just a route runner. He's got strong hands. He's quick. He's got the yard after catch ability. I really like Max Clare out of Ohio State, who everyone's talked about at tight end 2, but I think Stowers and Michael Trigg, for whatever reason,
Trigg has some off the field.
He has some off the field stuff, or else he might be. I mean, a first round pick. He's an athletic freak, but I think Stowers is really flying under the radar.
Keep an eye on this because it's becoming more of a college football trend. The tight ends that they're producing for the league are better and more developed and deeper than it was 5 years or so ago. I mean, some of the younger guys are coming in, starting with Bowers, but I mean, even McBride in his second season. They're producing more and better tight ends than ever. Might even started with like Darnell Washington's class. There was like 5 or 6 really good ones that year.
It's not the thought process that it was 15 years ago when you're going to have to wait till these guys are 27 before they really have
it used to be like, why would I bother drafting this guy? Because his second contract when he's going to be good.
Cornerback Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. Smart, instinctive, unbelievably fast.
Yeah.
Versatile, excels in man and zone as corner.
He really looks like a clear second-round guy.
Didn't have a great Senior Bowl.
I'd say Senior Bowl wasn't great for him.
But his tape is outstanding, and that's what McShay says is that if he has a good combine, should be a top 50 pick.
And guys like that, I mean, with the traits, could go to like a Super Bowl type team. Late first.
It's a great landing spot for those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Another one of those guys to me is the safety out of Toledo that we've talked about a little bit in the past, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
People love him.
He's got some of those Emin Worry, Cooper DeJean type vibes where he's
violent too.
He's violent and he can be a versatile guy in your secondary. I think he's got a chance to be a first-round pick, certainly.
There could be 3 first-round safeties. We know Downs is going.
Totally.
We haven't talked about the Oregon kid enough, and the dude from Toledo. We're all going to go probably top 40.
Top 40-ish.
Yeah.
I think that's a safe bet.
Especially if they can prove to be slot capable, like you talked about, the Emin Worry stuff.
That's the calling card in modern NFL right now. Another one of these defensive linemen that I'm excited about, and we're going to, I think, continue to talk more and more about these guys. Grace Houghton out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
One technique guy.
So he's more nose-ish, which I think is
really quick get-off, which
is
kind of fits the bill of what we've talked about.
Yep.
Had a really good Senior Bowl week. And according to McShay, I'd be surprised if he lasts until day 3.
Okay.
So he might be
could
one
be
of those
like Steelers second-round pick.
Or second round, third round.
Right, yeah.
I wouldn't hate that. I want to add to that defensive line at some point.
Me too. I'd much rather do it through the draft than.
And I think day 2 is the kind of ideal. Hey, if you tell me now it's a 4th rounder, okay, but I would really like it if it was day 2. And a couple wide receivers to close down this list. Amari Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. We've talked about him a few times. For those who don't know the name, you will know the highlight. He's the one who made that circus toad tap catch against Penn State. That was
the more you watch him, the more you love the guy.
He's
really easy to like.
He's got that George Pickens type ball skills, zero fear, kind of to go up and get it.
An elite blocker, which probably doesn't shock you coming from Indiana.
Does not.
Yeah, right.
Does not.
I don't know which Indiana guy I prefer right now. They're both probably day 2 picks, maybe round 2 picks.
McShay compares Amari Cooper to a faster Jarvis Landry. I would sign up.
Landry was a killer blocker.
I would sign up for that.
Yeah.
Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee, the wide receiver. We've mentioned him.
He's 6'5".
6'5", over 200 pounds. That's the big body type you've been talking about.
Now, Tennessee doesn't run a real varied route tree.
No, they do not.
But he's not just a straight line athlete. He can break things off and beat you with more than just go routes, too.
A lot of 9 routes on those Tennessee tapes, but it's 6'5", man. And then kind of the guy who's the opposite of that, we've mentioned Zachariah Branch out of Georgia. A lot to like, but he's undersized. He's,
His average depth of target's like 1 yard. Everything's at the line of scrimmage.
His comps from McShay are Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers.
Yeah, because I don't think he's just a slot. Like, those guys aren't. I mean, those guys are primary, play the wide receiver position. They're not just gimmick dudes. They're out there every snap. They're not just the third receiver. Do you happen to know where he transferred from? He transferred from USC.
I was going to say it was another big school.
And his first 2 years at USC, the first year he greatly outproduced Lemon. They're the same age. And then the second year they were almost neck and neck. So in a different offense with different usage, he did a lot of good stuff as well.
It's funny. His number one weakness listed on his draft report is large share of his targets were thrown behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they're just like, get him out quick, bubbles. Right.
That's not, I don't even know if that's necessarily a weakness on him. That's just the way they used him at Georgia.
They used him, right. I mean, that's how Burden was, last year. So I heard Todd recently talking about how he thinks there's going to be at least 12 receivers in the first 2 rounds. That's a ridiculous number. And he went back, again, I'm quoting him. He went back, he said, over 30 years or something.
Only twice in the last 30 years has there been 12 wide receivers or more in the first 2 rounds.
One was the Pickens year.
And one was the Pickens year, and he thinks that this would be the 3rd time in the last 30 years that's insane.
I kind of feel like the Steelers have to get one of those 12.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not round 1, you better get one of the 12. If there truly are 12 going in the top 64,
you better get one.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair ask, especially as we sit here today. I don't think they could even do something in free agency that would change our mind in that regard.
I mean, if you trade for A.J. Brown, I still would probably say the same thing.
Give me one in the second round,
right?
Absolutely. I want to get greedy at that position, man, because whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's
the next guy,
Will Howard, whoever it might be, I want that nest, man, and you need those wide receivers to be part of that nest.
I really think. Remember the conversation we talked about how I think it was Todd saying there's about 10 quarterbacks next year for next year's class, and we went through Texas, Ohio State, blah blah blah. If you're one of the teams that's targeting them, what do you do this year? You take a receiver or a tackle.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
Build
exactly
the
what
nest.
they do. Right.
Build the nest. Offensive line or wide receiver.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer. And I think that's a good year to be doing that because we see a lot of these wide receivers available in the top 64. A lot of offensive tackles that are in the back half of the first round of the draft, which is crazy rare.
Yeah.
You don't have the Joe Alt type prospect in this draft.
At either position.
Yeah,
you're the no-brainer.
But you've got a lot of those
a lot of them.
B-plus type prospects that
quality starters prospects.
Yes. That might not be going to Canton one day, but that could be a really good player for you for 10 years.
Right.
But
I think you'll see a lot of these what look like quarterback needy teams taking a receiver or a tackle, and then next year, like the Browns might take one of each in the first round.
They
should.
They absolutely should. And for Cleveland's sake, that might be one thing that actually falls their way this year. It's a good year you got 2 first-round picks.
We're laying it out. We're laying the
blueprint
and
a wide receiver.
You.
Bam.
Don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. That Cleveland, they can never screw that up, right? Like, no way. They had this great scout named Matt Williamson in the building, and they got rid of him. And after a year, that tells me everything I need to know about the Browns. Although I'm forever grateful, because who knows where I'd be right now if I wasn't doing radio with Matt Williamson.
You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the Black and Gold. Steelers Nation Radio.